All right, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Howell, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the Apostle Elder Great Millstone. Psalm on to the Ophelic. I'm back again with another lesson through power and spirit of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, to feed the elect of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua. Shalom to all you brothers out there pushing the word and truth and sincerity. And basically, I want to talk about how so-called Native Americans and Hispanics, the Northern Kingdom Israelites, are Hebrew Israelites, according to the Bible. You got some Israelites out there that believe that the Hebrew Israelites are just black. No, they not only just black or so-called black. They also so-called Native American Indian and so-called Hispanic too. You know, and I'm gonna prove that with these articles I did some research on, and I got some scriptures here back it up. So if you don't know that there was a Native American slave trade, just like how the so-called blacks went into the slave trade and it was on them ships. It says right here, slavery among the indigenous people of the Americas. Slavery among the indigenous, I'm trying to say it to the best of my ability. Indigenous, I'm going to just say it like that. Indigenous people of the Americas refers to slavery of and by the indigenous peoples of the Americas. The history of slavery spans all regions of the world during the pre-Columbian era. Many social societies in the Americas enslaved prisoners of war or instituted systems of forced labor. See, they went into slavery and labor, just like the so-called blacks. Let me see some. It says right here, when did Native Americans become slaves? And it says between 1492 and 1880, between 2 and 5.5 million Native Americans were enslaved in the Americas, in addition to 12.5 African slaves, 12.5 million African slaves. See? Find something else. It says North American Europeans, the so-called Europeans is Esau, the so-called white folks. North American Europeans did enslave Indians, it's talking about the so-called Native American Indians, during wars, especially in New England, the Poquet War, King Philip's War, in the Southeast, the Tuskora War, the Yamasee War, the Natchez War, just to name a few. But ordinarily, Europeans, especially the English and French, purchased their Indian slaves from Indians. See? All right, the so-called Native Americans and so-called Hispanics, they come from the Northern Kingdom, from 12 tribes of Israel chart. The so-called black Israelites, they come from the Southern Kingdom. The tribe of Judah, the tribe of Levi, and the tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Judah is the so-called blacks. The tribe of Benjamin is the so-called Jamaicans or so-called West Indians. The tribe of Levi is the so-called Haitians. And Issachar is the so-called Mexicans. Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans. Simeon, the so-called Dominicans. But in Gad, the Gadites are the so-called Native Americans. And Reuben are the Seminole Indians. The Seminole Native American Indians. I'm going to go to some images real quick. See, if you look real close, this is Esau taken captive of a so-called Native American Indian. Look at this picture. See? Yeah. And there's another thing. What role did so-called Native Americans play during these times? Look that up. It says both before and during African enslavement in the Americas, American Indians were forced to labor as slaves and in various other forms of unfree servitude. They worked in mines, on plantations, as apprentices for artisans, and as domestics, just like African slaves and European indentured servants. See, they worked on plantations and they went into slavery and labor, just like the so-called blacks. See, and there's another reason. It says, who won the Native American War? In the end, the English won. See, the English sailors, Esau, they won. And they took them captive and brought them into captivity over in America. In the end, the English won. with 200 colonists and 1,000 Indians killed, and some 1,000 captured, the score sold into slavery. See that? I'm gonna start off with the scriptures. My first scripture is Genesis 49, verse 19. Gad, and Gad is the so-called Native Americans from 12 tribes of Israel chart. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. See the so-called Native American Indians, they got took down, and they went into captivity right here. You know, Esau took them into captivity. Let's see. I'm gonna get to the main point. I'm gonna start at 2nd Ezra 13 verse 40. I'm gonna read it. Starting from the top, it says, "Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea, the king whom Solomon, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and they came into another land." See? Hey man, they went into the northern kingdom, the so-called Hispanics and Native American Indians went into captivity over to the Assyrians, and the Assyrians are Esau Edom. The Assyrians aren't Israelites. They're the heathen nation. They come from Esau Edom. And they went into captivity up under them when they came over here. And they were carried away into that land, that other land. Over here in America. Let's see, we get verse 41. This is 2nd Ezra 13, verse 41. "But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt." See? They went into the Assyrian captivity. They was brought over here after they got took down in war. And they was brought over here. See? And went into slavery. See? Start at verse 42. This is 2nd Ezra 13, 42. "That they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land." They never kept laws, statutes, or commandments. 2nd Ezra 13, verse 43. "And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river." See? They went into, let me see. Something real quick. Oh yeah, it said like basically when they went into the narrow passages of the river, they were basically navigating their way of where they was going, like a navigation. They had no navigation system, but the Lord gave them the ability to tell where they was going by navigating their way. Type stuff. Let's see. 2nd Ezra 13, verse 44. 2nd Ezra 13, verse 44. "For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and he held still the flood till they were passed over." Like they could tell where they was going by the stars. They followed the stars. To read their location, to see where they were going. It was how they had the ability to do that, even back then without a cell phone or a GPS system. Cause this was a long, long time ago. Next scripture. 2nd Ezra 13, verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, in the same region is called Azareth. Right, Azareth is Azareth today, so-called Azareth today is America. See, this is what America was called back then a long time ago. But now they changed the name to America. And a lot of people out there, they say, some guys out there believe, they was talking about a wilderness. No, they weren't talking about a wilderness that they was going into. They was talking about America. Azareth was a name for America back then. It wasn't no wilderness, because some people out there believe it was a wilderness that they was talking about. This is 2nd Ezra 13, verse 46. "Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come." Continue reading. This is the main point right here. 2nd Ezra 13, verse 47. "The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace." See, there you go. There you have it. The so-called Native Americans left from the captivity of the Assyrians, And they dwelt and came to a land where no mankind ever dwelt, which is this place called America, which is really Azareth. See, there you go. And I'm continuing reading. I'm gonna start at in the Second Kings, the book of Second Kings. I'm gonna start at verse 17, 18. Therefore, the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. See, on the tribe of Judah, the Negro tribes was left. Because the northern king, they had fell off and broke the new covenant. Continuing. This is verse 19. Also, Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord, their power, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. See? Because we know, being false, the laws, statutes, and commandments, we went off. We broke the new covenant against Yahweh Shai, and that pissed Yahweh Shai off, and that's why we all, the southern king, the northern king went into captivity. Verse 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them, see, went into slavery, and delivered them into the hand of the spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. See? Went into slavery by the Assyrians. Verse 21. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord and made them sin a great sin. See, they were following after Jeroboam, and Jeroboam was wicked. He made Israel sin, and he was sinning against, in the eyes of Yahweh Shai, against Yahweh Shai. Continue reading. This is 2 Kings 17, verse 22. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, and they departed not from them. See? They followed after Jeroboam. And once again, they followed after Jeroboam, and Jeroboam was wicked. And that's why we can state we in now. This is 2 Kings 23's main point. I'm ending off right here. 2 Kings 17, verse 23. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to the Assyrians to this day. See? So the Israelites went into captivity unto the Assyrians, so the Edomites. They ended up rebelling and revolting against the Assyrians, and they left and ended up in a land where no man dwelt, which is this place called America. Well, now it's called America, but originally it was called Azareth, really called Azareth. And see, there you go, there you have it. That goes to show you that so-called Native American Indians and Hispanics are the Hebrew Israelites. And I just showed you the prophecy, and I just, broke down and explained the history of the Native American slave trade and the wars and stuff, and what all happened, and how they ended up going into slavery. And that fit scripture prophecy of the so-called Native American Indians and the Hispanics going into slavery, going on them cargo slave ships, along with the Judah, Benjamin, Levi, or the Negro tribes. So I hope and pray this lesson was edifying. And I want to say shalom to the Philip, the ones to the Apostle Elder Great Millstone. Lord, we'll be back soon with another lesson. Until next time I say, shalom, shalom.